My voice is breaking up.
Oh, we're live.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Phoenix Hour. I am your host, hopefully sounding clear to you, Phelan Fairchild, virtually red, as you all can see. And I am with the lovely, as always, Jessica Lyon. Hello, Jessica.
Hi, Phelan. How are you?
I am delicious.
And Rosie.
I am Rosie. Do you know what? Over the weekend, we didn't, well, I'm sorry, last week, obviously, we didn't have a Phoenix Hour on Tuesday. So I was really disappointed that I didn't get to see all of you for Valentine's Day. I was going to totally walk around and give, chocolate and kisses and everything to all of you. So I thought I would make up for it and show up today as the Queen of Hearts, spreading goodwill, cheer, and love.
So happy belated Valentine's Day.
Yeah, did you enjoy yours?
Yeah. I didn't get much of a break, but yeah.
Yeah, same here. So actually, if you want to know the real reason I'm wearing this, I haven't taken it off since Valentine's Day because I know I'll never find my inventory after I do. So, I suppose that's the less attractive reason. So, Jessica, we have got a great lineup today. I'm so excited about this. I was really surprised. There's a new Phoenix. I'm still on 818. I'm just saying. Now we're on 908, right?
Now we're on 908, and I'm not surprised you haven't updated, considering we had 818 and you were still on what, 225?
Yeah. I've always been a late bloomer, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there, and I didn't know that there was going to be any more. I didn't think development was going to continue on after 818. But I got surprised, and it did. I thought that we.
Oh, we're still working on it, and we'll still have at least one more Phoenix release, if not two, still to come. So.
Yeah. Well, you know what? While I'm still looking forward to see what you've got coming up, and I know you've got quite a few announcements to make, but you wanted to start off saying something rather heartfelt.
Yeah, I think something that kind of might start the show off on a sad note, but I just want to give a shout out to the folks at Christchurch in New Zealand. They've suffered a pretty significant earthquake, and my heart and my thoughts and my prayers are going out to them tonight.
Absolutely. All right. Well, moving on from that, and we do wish them our best. There's something else on the opposite end of the spectrum that's been kind of like a tick on your thigh. What is a support impersonator?
So this was just actually brought to my attention minutes before the show. So we apparently have some people that are going around telling other Phoenix users that they're official support people. So I just want to point out quickly how you can tell who our official support people are and who our official support people aren't. If you open up my profile and you look in my payment info section on my profile, you'll see it says Phoenix Developer. Support people who are on our support team will say Phoenix Support. And if you're not sure, or if for whatever reason, if you're on Firestorm, for example, you can't see that, so go to our website, www.phoenixviewer.com, click on the big support button at the top, and you'll get a list of all the people who actually work for our support team. And so yeah, I just wanted to bring that up. So if you open up my profile, and you know where it shows payment info on file?
I see account resident payment info used.
And just below that, it should say Phoenix Developer. And it doesn't? Well, that just figures.
Although your partner is Blue Man Steel, which I find quite interesting. Is he one of, like, a member of the JLU or something?
No, actually, he's a former Linden.
Oh, lovely.
That's a resident account.
So So other
Okay,
people
so
are seeing this. So is it me on 818?
yeah, it may just be, so that has to be picked up when you log in. There's a file on our server that the viewer does a quick check and loads the names of who's on support into your viewer. So when you check on someone's profile who's on support, it should list, but sometimes that file gets missed for whatever reason, sometimes network lag, and so that's probably happened to you in this case. But
And maybe, is it quite possible that when I upgraded to 818, I didn't do a totally clean install?
right. So, well, that's a good segue. So let's talk about 908. First thing I'm going to talk about is the importance of clean installs. And what a clean install means is that uninstall your previous version of Phoenix before you install the newer one. And there's actually a little bit more to that, not just uninstalling it, but there's a setting file that gets stored on your computer. And quite often, and the reason why a lot of people have problems every time they update Phoenix to another version is because we've added more features into the settings file. And so what happens is that it can sometimes corrupt the old settings file, and you end up with corrupt settings. And so I'm going to paste a link here to our wiki, to a page that helps you step by step do a complete clean install for next time, or even if you're having problems now. Clean installs actually fix most problems that people have. There's been a lot of so it's wiki.phoenixviewer.com/doku.php?id equals clean_reinstall. This goes for Linux as well, although it's mostly Windows that's affected by this problem, more than Linux or Mac. Maybe that says something about Windows, I don't know. But yeah, most problems, if you're having, if you upgrade to 908 and you're having all kinds of issues, and oh my gosh, it's a horrible viewer, you've destroyed everything, go in and do a clean reinstall. And very good chance that you're going to find that all your problems magically go away. The other thing that was coincidental with the timing of our release 908 is that, well, Linen Lab, the same week, pushed out a new server version and to the main grid, to the main channel, and it broke attachments. There's been a lot of people complaining about attachments reattaching, not attaching, not being able to detach attachments, attachments that are showing worn on your avatar, but in your inventory they don't show that they're worn. This is a server bug. So our support's been hammered with, oh my gosh, what have you done? You've killed the viewer. You made it horrible and broke it and everything. Well, actually, we didn't. So here's the Jira for that, and that's jira.secondlife.com/browse/svc-6766. You can go there and take a look. It was something that I had actually reported. Lynn and I wasn't aware of the problem. They have been very good at listening to us, and we've helped them, they've helped us, they've identified some of the problem. There's actually more than one problem going on there. Apparently there's quite a bit of different attachment problems going on there. And also relates to clothing layers as well. But this is just one of the JIRAs, and Linen Lab is apparently, as of an hour ago, said that they're going to be pushing a fix to one of the many problems to release channel, or release candidate channel tomorrow. I think it's Magnum it's going to be going to. And hopefully keep our fingers crossed that they're going to push that fix out with next week's server update. We didn't break your attachments. It's not the viewer's fault. It is a server issue, and in fact there's been a lot of server issues that have started in the same week that we released 908, and so 908 is being blamed for pretty much, well, everything. It's really not that bad. Okay, so that's the attachment bug, and there are many others, and we're hoping within the next few weeks those server issues are going to be addressed. Certainly Linen Lab is looking very hard into the attachment problem. So next on the list is derender. We've made some changes to the derender code, and support has been a little bit busy trying to explain to people what those changes are. So I'm just going to touch base on that quickly. It used to be that when you'd right-click on an object or an avatar and you derender them, that they would go away. And if you set your draw to 0 and back, your draw distance, they would reappear. Or you could teleport out and come back and they would reappear. We've changed that now, and derender now puts these things into your asset blacklist, and that's in the Phoenix menu, which is up next to the help menu at the top, and it's called asset blacklist. And if you accidentally derender your friend, you will have to find them in the asset blacklist. They'll be, if you sort it by date, they should be up at the top, and you can click on them. They will be named as an object, unfortunately. And you can click on their name, and at the top click remove. Now, they're not going to re-render right away. There's a couple ways you can get them to render back in for you. One of them is to TP out and back. Another one is to change your group tag. That forces an update to the sim and sends their data back to you again. So that's the new blacklist. The advantage to the Phoenix, to the way we're doing derender now, is that a lot of you have probably found that when you derender somebody or an object, it suddenly reappears again all by itself. By adding it to the blacklist, it's gone. You're not going to see it again until you remove it from that blacklist. And incidentally, that blacklist is carried over from whatever viewers, whatever Phoenix viewers you update to, as well as other accounts. So if you blacklist somebody on one account and log into an alt, they'll also be blacklisted for your alt. So it's a global setting.
Oh my goodness. See, now I'm used to, of course, I've derendered a lot of people and a lot of things. Sometimes accidentally, sometimes not. Can you derender yourself?
You can. I would not advise that you do that. But you can fix yourself if you do. You can fix yourself.
Because you know I'll be the first one to do it, I'm sure.
You might actually a teleport should, after you've removed yourself from your own blacklist. Is this a conundrum or what? In teleport, you should be able to see yourself again.
There's more people out there like me than will admit it. I'm absolutely positive of that. So before, when we would derender something, we would kind of have to leave for a little bit and then come back, and then maybe it would pop up again or it would reappear.
It would almost always.
You know those women,
yeah.
You know those crazy women that wear them prim tops, and you always people. I'll tell you what, I've derendered them. And I love to, you know what else I do? When I'm in a room with people that are acting all hoity-toity and self-important, if you want to feel good about who you are, derender their hair. Because I do that all the time. I have been in every conference or meeting I've been in with Linden Lab. I've derendered those bitches' hair. I will tell you every single time. So,
well, I'll tell you what the actual reason
why
I'll tell you why derender is there. It's basically was originally added because there's a lot of griefers out there who like to use sculpts that use a ridiculous amount of polygons on them, and they add these ridiculously large textures on them, and when they come into view, you watch your frames per second drop to nearly 0, and in some cases they actually crash you. And it's the original purpose behind derender. It's an anti-griefing feature for derendering things that lag you. And but it's gained use for all kinds of things now.
Absolutely. But you know what? Here's an interesting question. When you derender something, and say it's a heavily scripted item and it's used for griefing or whatever, is it just invisible to you and you're still incurring you're still using the resources?
It's invisible to you, but the object is still there. So the object is still affecting the sim. Sure. Most of these crashers actually don't use much for scripts at all, because it's really just about overloading your graphics card with lots and lots of prim faces and large textures, and basically your viewer is trying to load them. So when you derender, it just removes them. You know, so it doesn't affect your video card at all.
Oh wow! But
the object is still there.
And you learn something new every day, folks.
Of course.
Every day.
Okay, another problem that we have. HTTP get texture problems. So any of you that have hung out in the Phoenix support group has probably seen support talking quite a bit about HTTP GET and telling people to disable it. HTTP GET is a Linen feature. It's relatively new since Snow Globe 1.5. And there's issues apparently with HTTP GET textures, and some of those issues will be, and if you experience some of these, pay attention. Slow rezzing, like really slow. Prims and avatars are staying gray, or textures just simply won't fully load. High lag, but your frame per sec are good, so things are, seems to be going slowly, but your frames per second is still high. And there's a variety of other symptoms, and not all of these actually have to do with HTTP GET, but quite often they're related. There is a JIRA on that, because it is, again, as far as we can tell, a Linen Lab problem on the server. I can't say that 100%. We're still trying to investigate if the viewer is not doing something correctly. So what is HTTP GET textures? Basically, it sends textures without HTTP. So if you turn off HTTP GET, and this is in your advanced menu, advanced rendering, HTTP GET textures. Now, if you have this disabled, then textures are being sent to you through the simulator. And if the simulator is lagged, that may slow down. HTTP GET textures is supposed to speed things up because it sends textures through the internet away from the simulator. So it's not going through the sim. It's independent from the simulator. But there's a lot of people having problems with the textures failing to be received to you, and whether that's a server problem or a viewer problem, we're not sure, but there is a Linen Lab JIRA on that, and we've got a lot of JIRAs on ours. For those of you on the stream, it's jira.secondlife.com/browse/VWR, as in viewer, VWR-22698. Keep an eye on that. Linen Lab seems to be aware of the problem, and I believe they're working on that.
Yay.
So that's that. A 908 isn't horrible. It isn't bad. It's just that it's coincided. The timing of our release couldn't have been worse, with a whole bunch of bugs that got introduced onto the grid right around the same time. And do clean installs if you're having problems. Look at that wiki. Okay, so we'll move along because I'm already running far behind than I thought. I want to bring up the wiki.phoenixviewer.com. You can go to the troubleshooting section. There is tons of information there. In fact, all the links I've posted you, except for the JIRAs, are answered there. Our support people use that themselves as a template for helping you. And so if you can't get a hold of support, check out the wiki, because you're going to get the same advice in the wiki that you get from our support people. We'd like to have more people going there. And just not as a note, we have ads up on the wiki now. Don't click them if the ad says click here to fix your problem. It's an advertisement. It's not from us. If it's a graphic, it's not from us. Yes, so it's HTTP. Actually, one of my support people in here will post that for you, Kramer. And classes. So we're hosting classes. Ed Merriman has been doing classes. They've been very, very popular, and they continue to be popular. We're now doing 201 classes. So we've been doing 101 classes, or it has been. And those basically cover all the preferences in the Phoenix viewer. And everybody who goes to that class who thinks that they know everything come out of there humbled in saying, wow, I can't believe how much I've just learned. So really, it's no matter how much you think you know. I mean, I've learned stuff going to this class. And our class schedule is here. Again, it's on our wiki. And that's wiki.phoenixviewer.com/doku, doku.php, _ID equals Phoenix_classes, or just go to the wiki main page, the first page of the wiki, and you will see the link to it. That gets updated every Sunday night for our schedules. Check out the classes. Really worth your time. Do the 101 class first. The 201 class is more advanced, and it talks about things like the blacklist and keyword alerts and various other more advanced things. And moving right along, Firestorm Preview 2. So we're going to be late. We've run into some problems. We have a lot of things. It's very ambitious. Probably my fault, because there's been a lot of things that I really want to get into Preview 2, and we're still waiting on quite a bit. So I'll tell you what we have now, and then I'll tell you what is still in progress. Right now we have temp uploads. We have accordions changed to tabs and panels. That's thanks to Toy Wiley. Many of you know her from our Firestorm preview group. Toy has been doing so. Basically, when you open up your as an example, your appearance editor while you're in Firestorm, you'll notice that they've got these little accordions going up and down. You click it and then it moves up and down. Now that they've been changed to tabs, which is more 1.23 feel. So what else do we have? True disable cam constraints. I think most people on Firestorm found it frustrating that they can't zoom their camera out far enough even when they disable cam constraints in Firestorm. The reason you can do that in Phoenix is because it's actually an added feature that we have added some time ago. That has now been added to Firestorm, so when you disable cam constraints, your camera really is disabled from camera constraints. Let's see, additional buttons and fields in Preferences Network for opening logs. So in Phoenix, if you go to Preferences Network, you can click Open on your chat log location, for example, if you want to find your chat logs, or your settings file, or your crash logs to send crash logs to our support team. You can now do that in Firestorm, or will be able to in Preview 2. There's a proper clear cache button. There was a lot of people reported a bug that the clear cache or reset cache didn't work. Actually, it wasn't designed to reset cache. Apparently in V2, you're not supposed to reset your cache. You're supposed to change the location for it. So we've added a proper clear cache button. There is a sidebar now for the Meta Harper skin for those who want the sidebar. Docked and undocked nearby chat. A lot of people had reported that it doesn't remember its state, whether it was docked or not. Through logins, it does now. We've done a lot of other bug fixes as well. And what is still in progress and still needs to be done, radar is on the list for Preview 2. And we're not going to have it finished for Preview 2, but we'll have some semblance of radar that will be usable. We're hoping to have Bridge for Preview 2 and LL Move to Target TPs. This is what lets you teleport around a sim that has a landing point. It lets you circumvent that landing point once you're in the simulator. Completed Winlight parcel settings. Like Phoenix, you will be able to, in Preview 2, share your parcel Winlight settings. Login Manager, we're probably not going to get it in Preview 2. We're too far behind. We want to get spell check in Preview 2. That's probably not going to make it as well. So it'll be Preview 3. Preferences pages. We're going to have some preference pages up in Preview 2, and they're going to look just like Phoenix, and they'll be grayed out because the features aren't there. But we're putting it there as a template for us, so as we port features into it, we can enable those features. We'll probably do some changes to it as well. We want to have broadcast viewer effects, the ability to disable broadcast viewer effects in Preview 2, but it's probably not going to make it. A biggie is right-click where in your inventory on various and other various inventory bugs. So it blew me away when it was brought to my attention that you can't right-click where a folder. To those of you who use attachments quite a bit and you expect an attachment to be detached by another attachment, I was quite surprised. So Tosh is working really hard on this problem. Basically, it's just not in Viewer 2 at all, and so we're having to add it to Viewer 2. Links for JIRs in chat. So if I type PHOE-1342, it turns it to a link that you can actually click on. We hope to have that in Firestorm. Hideable bottom bar. A lot of people have asked for the ability to hide the bottom bar with a click of a button. We do intend to do that. We're probably not going to get that done this time around either. And lots of other bug fixes are in store for preview too. And so we're looking right now, hopefully middle of March. Originally we were planning for the end of this month, but we're too far behind. Primarily we're stuck with the inventory issues, and we're stuck with radar. So those things need to be done before we can do a release of it. And so that's where we are with Firestorm. Now, I don't know how we're doing for time. How are we doing for time?
We're doing all right, girl. You sort of swam through that like you were...
yeah, I figured I'd get through pretty quick.
That was pretty amazing.
Okay, so...
I'm impressed, but let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What, before we go to a break, because we're going to have to go to a break in a minute, but how has the feedback been and the response been to Firestorm Preview 1?
In a word, fantastic. I mean, we've had some people that don't like it. It's a pre-alpha, right? But overall, the response has been really, really positive. People are actually liking it. We have all kinds of people using it as a full-time viewer. It's a pre-alpha, folks. It's not ready for that, but we've got all kinds of people already using it full-time. So that's pretty positive, yeah.
Well, I want to just tell you really briefly that the people that I've not used it myself, and I've always been a staunch opponent of Viewer 2, primarily because of the interface and the lack of intuitiveness. And I've heard from people that it is so unexpectedly intuitive, and it works really well, and people are genuinely enjoying it. And I was talking with somebody earlier today who said, probably a machinist, Chantel Harvey, who's in the audience, who said that the one thing that blew her away the most, and she uses many viewers. I think she took a count the other day and said something like she used 11 or something to do her filming. And she used and enabled shadows on Firestorm. Now, for those of you that don't know, I mean, when we've tried to enable shadows in other viewers, it's been a tremendous resource sucker. It's caused us, great lag, and it's prevented us from really utilizing them as an embellishment to our works. Our photography, maybe we might be able to get away with that, but anything that yes. And she used shadows in Firestorm, and it was flawless. No lag increase. And it was beautiful. And she actually took a video to exhibit the use of shadows in Firestorm. So I'm going to share that with our audience in World, and Stuart is going to put that on the web. So I'd like to be the first to congratulate you on, it looks like Firestorm is going to surpass every expectation and be a wonderful alternative to Viewer 2.
Before you congratulate me, I have to point out that the shadow code in Firestorm is entirely 100% Linden Lab. And so really the congratulations is deserved by Linden Lab for shadows. Firestorm is based on 2.4, and shadows should work just as well on the Linden Lab 2.4. And they have done a fantastic job on shadows. I'm very impressed.
Excellent. Excellent. So it's nice, though, that you've sort of implemented that to Firestorm. And there's a couple of the questions that I want to ask you with regard to that, but we got to take a break right now. And I'm sure Stuart's screaming at me to do that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back right after these messages.
Strings, I'll do anything, yeah, anything.
And then the bitch said, "I'm sorry, ma'am. You'll have to declare your zebras as carry-on." I said, "Honey, that's just..."
I got to be wrong to get along, 'cause nobody What's in your mind and what's flowing?
This is Hasidion Zarko inviting you to join me next week on Be My Guest. I'll be there with the lovely Miss Amy Obinsky. You be there too, okay?
To see what secrets are hidden there. Here comes trouble, let me pass. I know your heart's
Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Phelan Fairchild, here with the lovely Jessica Lyon. And we just spoke about Firestorm. Firestorm is, actually, Jessica, Firestorm is the viewer to code base. But it's done with the Phoenix team's own individualized flair, which, of course, is what we've come to know and love them for. Interestingly enough, have you heard any of the interviews that Rod Humble has given, Rod Humble being the new Linden Lab CEO, over the last couple of weeks?
I missed yours. How did it go?
Oh, well, it went great, and he did sort of touch on third-party viewers. And did you hear, I think he also touched on the same subject with a writer, Deucen writer, as a matter of fact, and said that he sort of was a little bit disappointed that people had segmented from using, not that he wanted them to be on viewer 2, but there were some people on so many different viewers at this point, and he wanted to sort of create an amalgamate of the best features and roll them into one. He didn't even touch on the actual Linden viewer 2, and I wondered what your response was to what he had to say about his thoughts on third-party viewers.
Well, I'll tell you the reasoning behind that is that it's important. Linden Lab feels it's very important for everybody to have the same experience in Second Life. And while I agree to an extent, and so the thing is that third-party viewers have the power of changing the user experience from what Linden Lab wants you to have. And so in that respect, it's beneficial, in Linden Lab's mind, it's beneficial to the users to be on the same viewer with the same features so that everybody's on the same page, everybody sees things the same way. So one of the things that we're trying to do is still provide that, but with additional features that users can also have, and as well as additional customization. I don't think Linden Lab, I don't think most people at Linden Lab will, behind closed doors, say that they love viewer 2. It needs work, and but I think that's pretty much where that's coming from.
Right. So do you think that, where do you, if I can ask you, do you see the future of third-party viewers? I know that in the past you said that, I remember the last time we had discussed that there had been a rumor going around that Oz Linden and the Phoenix team were suddenly collaborating, or now that you did say that maybe Linden Lab, and if I'm wrong, correct me, might be interested in implementing some of the features from Phoenix into the viewer 2.
From Firestorm, you mean? Well, we certainly hope so.
From Firestorm, yes.
That would make things easier for us, in fact.
Do you think that viewer 2 is going to be an amalgamate then, as it was suggested they intended, of all the best features from all of the third-party viewer developers? And if so, where does that leave our third-party viewer developers if there's sort of one master viewer?
Well, Linden Lab will never agree with all of the features, and in fact, there was a post recently from Q Linden that there are side effects and disadvantages to having a viewer with lots of options and giving users lots of options in Linden Lab's eyes. In that, the more options a user has, the more complicated it is for them to understand. And however, in my experience, we have 0-day-old accounts on the Phoenix viewer, and they have no problems with it. And we have live support that they can reach at any time to get help. And so I don't personally believe that argument, but I don't think Linen Lab will adopt everything third-party viewers put out, and I think it's good to have a variety of viewers out there, third-party viewers, and options for people. And so I don't think that an amalgamation, a total amalgamation, will ever happen. But hopefully they will take some of the better things and implement those in their viewer.
Excellent. Well, I guess we'll have to see where that goes. I mean, there's still a lot to be done on Linden Lab's side in terms of fixing Viewer 2 and making it
there is. And third-party viewers can do work much faster.
As we have seen in the case of Firestorm.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, with regards to Firestorm and all the work that Linden Lab has to do, the big, next big thing coming out of them is allegedly mesh. How does that going to work with Firestorm?
So we still don't have a timeline. I just wanted to touch base on mesh with you because I get asked this question a lot. When is mesh coming? We don't know yet. Linden Lab doesn't know yet. It is still under development. And but guaranteed that the minute it goes live, we will have it in Firestorm. It will not be in Phoenix. But it will be in Firestorm, and hopefully we will have an official release of Firestorm out by that time.
So it will be in Firestorm. You will be able to upload Collada files.
We still haven't got a confirmation on that. We have a meeting coming on this Friday. We're going to be talking about that, and it's a topic that comes up. We have. All the third-party viewers on the directory have a meeting that we can go to with Oz Linden, and there are sometimes other guest Lindens there as well, sometimes mesh developers or developers of other projects within the team at Linden Lab. And so every week we keep asking the same question, how's mesh doing? And will we be able to upload it? And so last we heard, they are still trying to work on a wrapper that will allow us to give the user the ability to upload mesh. But I don't have any news on that yet.
Okay, excellent, fair enough. So let's move on to XMPP chat.
Okay, so what is that? XMPP chat. So right now, when you get into a group chat, and everybody knows about group chat lag,
I just heard a collective face palm in the audience as you said that.
Yeah, so what happens with chat right now is chat is run through the server. Now, remember earlier I talked about HTTP get textures. So basically HTTP get textures allows textures to be sent outside of the simulator, separate from the simulator. So the simulator can be, dying and you'll still be getting textures through the web, essentially. XMPP is similar to that. Right now when you talk in group chat, you're talking the simulator. When you're saying something, you're connected to the sim and the chat is connected to the sim. And the performance in that group chat is reliant in many ways on the performance of the sim of all the people that are in that chat. And so XMPP is a separate protocol, kind of like HTTP. Basically, chat will not be, when they enable this, chat will not be running through the simulator anymore. Chat will be going through the web, through the internet, separate from, in fact, almost separate from the viewer in a way. And so this is something that we're going to be, and I have a link here. This is not specifically to XMPP that Linden Lab is doing, but it explains what it is. XMPP stands for, I should shout that. It stands for Extensible Messaging and Presence Protocol. And it's kind of like, government. Yeah, it's kind of Chinese and Greek to most people, I think, and even to me, to be honest. But essentially what it means is that this is how they're eliminating group chat lag. Is because it's no longer going to be going through the server or through the simulator. It's going to be bypassing that completely. It's going to be bypassing the sim, and so it's kind of like, think of it like IRC in a way, and Jabber, right? That's right, there you go. So I wanted to give a little bit of information about that. And for those of you on the stream, that's http://en.wikipedia.org/wiki/extensible_end_presence_protocol. There's a big one. And there's some information you can learn about that. We will be implementing XMPP as soon as Linden Lab is in their viewer. As soon as their viewer is in a stable release, we will adopt that. And this will basically eliminate chat fail. Unfortunately, viewer viewers that don't adopt XMPP into their viewer, eventually Linden Lab will turn off V1 search. Now, oh my God, don't everybody panic, hang on. We will be backporting XMPP into Phoenix, and that will give it a little bit more life. And XMPP and the old method will be running at the same time for some months to come, while Linden Lab irons out all the bugs with the new system. But at some point they will turn off the old system, and if you're on like a Linden Lab 1.23 viewer, for example, it's not going to get XMPP, and you won't be able to chat once they turn that off.
Wow, that's pretty significant. It's like cut off. You're being cut off, people.
Yeah, well, they do want to get people off V1, and understandably so. And we want to get people off Phoenix, believe it or not, even though we keep putting out Phoenix releases. We'd like to get people on Firestorm. V2 has a lot to offer. It just needs to be fixed.
I agree. So out of curiosity, can I just see you type in chat if you've used the the Firestorm, if you've used the Firestorm preview in version 1? Has anybody in this room used that? Are you all AFK? I did. Oh, a lot of people have. They're running Firestorm now.
People are running it full time. See that?
Excellent. That's
I was
fantastic.
very pleased with that.
So that leads me into obviously the final thing that you wanted to touch on.
Web profiles.
Web profiles.
So the last office hour, I talked to you guys about web profiles, and how I felt about them. And basically our team in general. We've made a stance with Linden Lab. Firestorm will not adopt web profiles as they are currently, in that we will not open a profile in a web browser. Okay, within the viewer. So what we need is a reliable method from Linden Lab to scrape data from web profiles, because web profiles are here to stay, folks. They're not going away. Linden Lab spent too much money on them. But we don't want to display profiles in a web browser. So what we've asked Linden Lab for is the ability to reliably scrape data from a web profile and put it into a legacy-style floater, like what you're used to in Phoenix and Firestorm, for example. And when we said this to Linden Lab, they suggested that they will look into that for us. And so it's looking promising that we will be able to get around the web profile problem.
Can you jump back for a minute and explain to our audience who this may be their first Phoenix Hour? What the issue is with web profiles that
oh my
Phoenix
gosh.
Hour finds really difficult and challenging and probably morally.
There's a lot of there's so many inherent problems with web profiles, and maybe some of those problems are going to be fixed. And let's assume that they fix all the security issues and privacy issues with web profiles. It still boils down to, from a design perspective, it's a nightmare. It's horrible. It's a big white page in a web browser. It's not in a nice clean floater anymore. So if for no other reason than design purposes, we're just not going to do web profiles. They look horrible. But there are also other security and privacy issues with web profiles, not the least of which you can actually turn off your profile. So Linden Lab, thank you Linden Lab for kudos for providing a privacy feature that allows you to hide your profile from the internet. Unfortunately, when you do that, you also hide it from NSL, so essentially you're turning off your profile. In my humble opinion, that's breaking the entire purpose and point of profiles. And you talk about immersion and breaking immersion, well, there you go.
So is there still the JIRA where people can
there is. Linden Lab has closed that JIRA.
Oh, okay. Well, now
yeah.
Moving on from that quite abruptly. What about
okay, so
the upcoming media filter? Because this
so one of the things that there's been a lot of commotion about the insecurity of media, in that when you enter a parcel, if you have media on and you enter a parcel, it will just automatically start playing from a media URL. And the problem with this is that you essentially have no control or knowledge of what that URL is. So we've implemented a patch. Actually, we were already working on this, and then Second Life user, oh dear, I can't remember her name, Sion, anyway, she'll get credits in our release notes. Actually did some of the work for us ahead of time, so we've used her patch. We're going to be improving it. So I'll just explain what it does. When you have media on and you enter a parcel, you will get a dialog, and the dialog will say, well, actually it's a notification that comes up and you have to choose an option. And it's basically going to say this parcel wants to play media on this URL, and it's going to give you the URL. You can allow it, you can deny it, you can blacklist it, and you can whitelist it. If you allow it that one time. The next time you come back, it's going to prompt you again. If you deny it, the next time you come back, it's going to prompt you again. If you blacklist it, it's never going to ask you again, and it will never play it. If you whitelist it, it will never ask you, and it will always play it. This is already in Phoenix on tip, which is on our repo. It will be in the next release. We have quite a bit of work to do on it still. We want to be able to give users the ability to edit their blacklist and their whitelist from within the viewer. And this way, if they accidentally blacklist a URL that they want to play, they can go in and remove it easily and make it user-friendly. And this will happen on any parcel that you go to if you have media automatically playing. And so yeah, it's basically just added security tools for the users. It will also be in Firestorm, possibly in Preview 2.
Excellent. Well, I'm sure as you can imagine, we have a few questions. We must have done really good today because we don't have that many questions.
Oh, that's good, because we're almost out of time.
Yeah, we did really, really good. Let's see here. What have we got? Hi, Faye. I love your outfit. Faye, you look great. Faye, you look like a drag queen. Okay, here we go. One from DeVito Chrome says, will there be tools for converting sculpties to mesh in World?
I doubt it.
Okay. And then he asked me, are you the Queen of Hearts? I am. Absolutely. So will the Preview 2 have the copy-paste of XYZ values feature?
Not yet.
Okay.
That'll be in Preview 3. It's definitely absolutely on our list to get the additional objects that we have in Phoenix into Firestorm, as well as the additional build tools in Firestorm. We do have the Align tool already, but we want to polish some of that stuff up. That'll be in Preview 3, which will be a public beta, by the way.
Again from DeVito, who asks a question that's actually a really good question. Do you happen to know how the dropping of support of Viewer 1 code base is going to affect text-based viewers, if at all?
Significantly, especially with XMPP chat and profiles as well. I know Latif, who does Raidcast, is currently struggling with how he's going to address that problem. We don't have a text-based viewer, and so I don't know all the intricacies of the problems that are going to arise from knocking at 1.23, but yeah, it's going to affect them.
Okay. Dargo asked, I gotta tell you, I've not liked this whole username thing because I don't know who anybody is anymore. But I'm so glad that some of you with names like Dargo Adamezik have just reduced it to Dargo for people like me. So his question is, do you render global on all my alts? Does that mean I share the blacklist with my wife as we are on the same PC?
Yes, I believe it would.
Blacklist your porn, honey.
Yeah.
Seriously, that might be a good time to do that.
Yeah, I think it would, because it's not a per account setting, so it's a global setting that affects all accounts on that computer. So yeah.
Alrighty. DCasks asks 2 questions. 1, will we all have to use a viewer to style viewer?
Well, that depends on how much of V1 you can live without. So, for example, you'll have to be able to live without search. You'll have to live without profiles. We will be doing XMPP into Phoenix, so you'll still be able to chat. But Lynn and I will be slowly turning off functionality for V1 viewers. So they're not blocking V1, they're not banning V1. They're just turning off functionality for V1. So it depends how much you can live without, basically.
Okay, and just to follow that up, she said, God bangs my head. Also, she asked, heard that the notes section of profiles is being taken out of the Linden Lab viewer and Phoenix. True?
Not on Phoenix, but when they turn off Firestorm, if we adapt web profiles, and we will have to adapt it to some degree, the notes will eventually stop working.
Just coming in my
no,
question.
notes don't work on web profiles at all right now.
Do you have an option for the pie menu or the drop-down menu?
Not yet.
People toggle between those two. So viewer 2
Not
feels
yet.
more. Are you considering?
And when I say not yet, it means it's absolutely on our list. In fact, it was on our list for preview 2, but we're not going to get there.
Christ, on roller skates, I could jump out of this
we
chair.
really, we really hope
Yeah.
to have it for the official release of Firestorm.
Yay.
It may be a skin option. We haven't. The thing is that the pie menu is GPL code. And Linden Lab hasn't provided a relicense of that GPL code for LGPL, which we need for Firestorm, which means we can't just copy pie menu over into Firestorm. We have to rewrite pie menu from scratch. So
I wonder,
pie menu is it's not just port it over. It's write it from nothing, basically, kind of a feature, and it's a big job.
Mm-hmm. I wonder how many people prefer the new drop-down menu over the original viewer's pie menu, where you could sort of move your mouse in a direction and click, as opposed to dropping it down. So is there, if you prefer one or the other, say in chat, pie or drop-down, which one do you guys like?
I personally
Misha says the pie.
Miss pie. I see everybody. Most people here are doing pie.
A couple people drop
I
down.
miss pie. I've gotten used to the drop down, but I miss pie. I do miss pie.
All right. So maybe we'll have options. Could potential toggleable options for the future? Pie drop down up to the skin, maybe. All right, excellent.
It may be a skin option. Yeah.
That gives me something to look forward to. Excellent. I'm definitely thrilled about that. So, what about Firestorm? Can people still go download it and go get it? Because she says, Misha Verstandig says, can you please give a link to download Firestorm? I had it. I loved it, but I can't find it.
Oh, well, we're not publicly hosting Firestorm on our website, simply because it is a pre-alpha, and anything we host on our website, people see and they say, oh, it's a release, and, they'll go and grab it. So if you want to get onto Firestorm, join our in-world group called Phoenix-Firestorm Preview Group, and in there, check notices. You'll see notices in there with note cards attached. Open the note card and you'll see the links to the Firestorm preview, as well as the YouTube video, which I highly encourage everyone to watch before you log into Firestorm for the first time. It helps you get oriented to what to expect.
Excellent. All right, so Nikki Vervain says he has a question for Jessica. I was wondering if Phoenix or Firestorm will ever implement the kind of feature that tells you if someone is viewing or who has viewed your profile.
That was a bug. Actually, that was an exploit. It happened in Emerald, and
did it?
it got exploited. We didn't even know about it at the time. It got exploited, and then someone started selling HUDs that would detect when people look at their profiles and, oh my gosh, the drama. You know, oh my gosh, you're looking at my profile, you're a pervert, and all kinds of ridiculousness. No, we will never ever do that on purpose.
Okay. Fair enough. Volmar asks, will they get working block group chat in Firestorm soon? Will you get
wait, say
working
that
block
again?
group chat? So I know I had to read that twice myself. I'm so sorry. Will they get working block? Okay, let me just put this in my own words, honey. I'm just going to tell you. Punctuation is your friend here. So are you going to get working where you can block a group?
Block a group.
Now he's saying group IMs. IMs, will you? So are you getting IMs?
Well, we have that in
you blocked?
Phoenix. And we will have that in Firestorm at some point. But that is already in Phoenix under, and if, by the way, if you go to our Phoenix 101 class, they will teach you where that is.
You can
so that's under
block a group chat, not just the drop-down menus.
I believe it's global for all group chats, though. Disable all group chats. It's in Preferences, Phoenix, Chat. It's about halfway down. Disable all group chats.
Wow, that is incredible. I didn't know that. I'm telling you what, I'm going to have to sign up for these little classes you've got going on.
Oh yeah, I'm serious. I mean, the Phoenix 101 class is absolutely fantastic. I have learned stuff, and I've been using this feature set for years, and I have still learned stuff in these classes. Absolutely, get to these classes if you can, and you can find the schedule on our wiki.
Okay. Harnold Arnahan says 18 months ago, Linden Lab looked at a more granular control of AVs without requiring pre-recorded animations. Are you aware of any features coming that will allow more granular remote control of AV joints?
That was something, I mean, Linden Lab had a lot of things on the planning books, and a lot of stuff got shelved when they did the big layoffs. I believe that was one of those things that got shelved. And by shelved, it doesn't mean that they'll not do it. It just means that they have to, they're limited to how many people they have and how much they can do now. So they have to focus on the big stuff, the most important stuff, like this attachment bug would be nice they could fix, please. And so that's something that they may still do. I haven't heard any news about that, but there's they've got a lot going on, and kudos to them because they are listening to the user. There's a lot of upstream changes going into Viewer 2 that have been requested. They are taking a lot more contributions from the open source community for code in Viewer 2. 2.5 I think had 20% of it was open source contributions from residents in Second Life. So, they're improving things. There are some things like web profiles that, in my opinion, is a step backwards, but overall they are improving things.
Jessica Lyon, you are a delight as always, and I adore you.
Thank you. And as are you.
Honey, I know. This was a fantastic Phoenix Hour, ladies and gentlemen, and we are absolutely delighted that you could join us today. Unfortunately, we are out of time. This always seems to go too fast, Jessica.
Yeah, we need a Phoenix 2-hour.
Yeah, we do, definitely.
Phoenix Office 2-hour.
Yeah. Now she'll not watch. She'll turn her. She's going to turn off her finger down her throat. She's got, as if you're not busy enough, right? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all a wonderful, delightful rest of February. We will be back in March. I don't know when in March. You'll have to look at a calendar or something.
It'll be March 8th. We'll see you March 8th.
March 8th, everybody. So see you then, and have a wonderful couple of weeks.
And take care, everyone.